Tonight is the night that we all find out about what is wrong with Seth Rollins. Is he going to be at WrestleMania? Is that match with CM Punk still in the cards for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia? Will he vacate the title? If he has to vacate, where is that championship going to be on the line? Will it be in the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber? So many questions, yet zero answers. Tonight we find out, but I got a major update on what the latest is going into tonight's Raw with Seth Rollins. Also, major update on Kazuchika Okada. He's considering his options right now and is not hasty to make a decision, whether that's WWE or AEW. And Tony Khan promises to make one major change to AEW television starting this week. The ranking system is coming back. Major news on that. All that and so much more right here on Off the Script. We will start with the ranking system and Tony Khan bringing that back to AEW television. I have asked for some consistency on television. AEW television, some weeks, I'm not saying it happens every week, is very reckless. Whether you like the booking, whether you like Tony Khan's direction of the product or not, a lot of people who watched in year one and year two will go out there and tell you that it's not the same in year four and going into year five. It's not. A lot of people question Tony Khan's recklessness as far as random TV matches, making matches for the sake of making matches with no rhyme or reason. There's no long-term booking. There's no reason why those matches are taking place. Championships don't really mean much of anything. There's an open challenge every week, etc., etc. Then we get the Continental Classic. And for a stretch of 7 weeks, television actually mattered. Wins and losses actually mattered. Everything on television actually mattered. Yes, it's a scripted program. Yes, it's a predetermined outcome. That doesn't mean the ranking system or basing things on wins and losses. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. You hold the power. Tony Khan holds the power. He can make it work. He made it work for 7 weeks, and it was beautiful. It's the best thing on AEW television all year with the Continental Classic. Now we're going back, and we're doing things the way we did it in the old school. Following the Continental Classic, Tony Khan said that he felt the tournament helped prove that a sports-centric presentation was a hit with the ratings and had plans to add more of the competitive edge to AEW. This was on X. Tony Khan announced and said that AEW would be bringing back the ranking system, and the company used this in the early days of their birth. AEW has been using divisional rankings to track its wrestlers as of 2021, but eventually abandoned the presentation in favor of a more sports entertainment approach. Now, rumor has it that Bryan Alvarez was live last night, and he mentioned that the reason why the rankings went away is because CM Punk convinced Tony Khan while he was there. CM Punk convinced Tony Khan to do away with the rankings because it's something that the company needed to move away from. Now, I didn't get the full context of why Punk wanted that, what the explanation was, but Bryan Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer said that CM Punk, while he was there in AEW, convinced Tony to get rid of the ranking system. I don't know why. I'd have to go back and listen to what the explanation was. Hopefully there is a good one, because I do think that there was an effect on the overall TV product when the ranking system went away. According to the tweet, the rankings will debut sometime this month. We could very well see it at the start of Wednesday's Dynamite this week. The return of the rankings is just one of the plans Tony Khan seemingly has for AEW in 2024, which Tony Khan has been touting highly, concluded by saying, "This is only the beginning of an amazing 2024 for AEW and our fans." Khan then thanked everybody for watching Saturday night's edition of AEW Collision. Khan had previously compared booking to the old AEW to the way he did things in the Continental Classic. The Continental Classic was once looked at as something that was going to be an experiment in its early stages, saying that the tournament was the experiment group, while the rest of the tournament was the control group. The executive, Tony Khan, said he was extremely happy with the results. Khan said that the booking of the Continental Classic was the most fun he's had putting together AEW programming in a long time. The new year is still young, and while there are still struggles with creative on AEW television, he's obviously listened to the fan base. He obviously listened to the reaction that the fans gave in regards to the Continental Classic, and he's going to give us more of a sports-centric presentation for AEW. Some of you may be asking, well, why is this a big deal? How is this going to make the show better? I think a lot of the disgruntled fan base, I'm not disgruntled every week, I just want things to be a little bit more organized. I think some of the complaints from the disgruntled fan base is that when the rankings went away, I feel like the quality of the television shows also went with it. You know, when Punk was there, things were right. When Punk was there, you know, they made sense of what was going on week to week with television. Things mattered, storylines flowed, things just felt more important. But when Punk wasn't there, and I'm talking about that stage in the beginning and then in the end here. In the beginning, AEW had Cody. Cody went away. Rankings, you know, they didn't really give a shit at that point. The rankings were basically abandoned. AEW got rid of them in the early stages of 2021. So they lost the rankings, they lost Cody, but they had CM Punk and CM Punk's long-term vision for storytelling and storylines. So we didn't really blink an eyelash at the rankings going away. Then Punk gets fired, and then we go back to traditional AEW television, which is random matches, everything is chaotic, and people start complaining. Where are the stories? A lot of this had to do with, you know, All In. A lot of All In was just random matches outside maybe 2 or 3 matches. We didn't get a fucking card until 2 weeks before the show. And then All Out, don't get me started on All Out. All Out barely had any fucking story going into it. And AEW had this feel about it where it was just like random matches. The pay-per-views would be built around 1, 2, maybe 3 big matches on a 5-hour show, and then the rest of the 10 matches on the card are just thrown together matches by Tony Khan with no rhyme or reason. Championships don't really mean much of anything. Championship matches don't make sense. Everybody complained. Then we get the Continental Classic. 7 weeks, 8 weeks of television. Beautiful television. Wins and losses mattered. Storylines took place in the tournament. Every week on Dynamite felt important. Why was that? The simplicity of wins and losses. Who wins, who loses, who moves down the rankings, who's hot, who's not. This is a great move. An absolutely great move for AEW. All I can say here is, and I hope, I'm going to mention this again on Wednesday when Jesse and I are live, but all I can hope is Tony Khan has hired people to watch and monitor these rankings on a week-to-week basis, and they take it seriously. All I can give is my opinion here because I've been through it. We've watched it together. We know exactly what they did and what they didn't do. Now, this is the ranking system coming back. You need a dedicated team to watch this shit on a week-to-week basis. You need a dedicated team to take what we see on Dynamite and on Collision and make it matter. Before, we were getting wins on Dark and wins on Dark Elevation and all this other shit. I'm sure Rampage is going to be involved. Nobody watches Rampage. Who gives a shit? But we don't have those dark shows anymore to muddy up the rankings. Everything's going to legitimately take place on television. I'm going to need everything to take place on television, and I'm going to need to see someone dedicated to those rankings, keeping them as updated as possible. I mean every single day, every single week. I want to know who's on the rankings, why they're there, and what matches they had to be in the position that they're in. I don't want any random fucking people sneaking in. Well, where the fuck did he come from? I didn't see him wrestle. I don't want to see fucking AEW guys wrestle on Ring of Honor and then have it matter for the fucking AEW rankings. Because I know that's coming. I know that's coming. Or I don't want to see a Ring of Honor talent wrestle on Ring of Honor in front of 5 fucking people and then get put on the AEW rankings. Well, where the fuck were they? I didn't see them on television. That's the type of shit that they started doing with the old rankings. But the reason why people are excited about this is because then it made television important. It made a random match like Swerve versus Jeff Hardy, like we're going to see this week on Dynamite, mean something. It's going to mean that Adam Page and Pentagon Jr. on Wednesday is going to mean something. Championship matches will now mean something because you're going to take winners and you're going to accumulate those wins, and then you're going to determine a championship match. Is he worthy of a championship match? And there should be rankings for every single title. You got your world title rankings. You got your international title rankings. You got your TNT title rankings. You got your tag team title rankings. Dedicate someone to make these divisions or rankings stick. Simple. Sounds like a fun job, man. If you're into numbers and analytics and storytelling, that job sounds like a fun job. But the reason why people are excited about this is because it went away and they feel the quality of the shows dipped. Now that it's back, a lot of people are excited that things are going to at least mean something, or at least mean more than they did in the last 9 to 12 months on AEW television. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Hopefully they stick with it, and we will keep an eye on the rankings right here when we talk AEW. Seth Rollins, major update going into Monday Night Raw tonight. Rollins is slated to address the WWE Universe about his health and the future of the World Heavyweight Championship. What's going to happen? Will he vacate? Will he stick it through? Will we get Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania? We're going to get all the answers on Monday night. Match with Jinder was obviously a waste of time because now it resulted in Seth Rollins being injured. I'm not blaming Jinder, but Rollins and Mahal, looking back at it, clearly did not need to happen, and we would have been not in this situation. So, while speaking with the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer noted as of Friday, Rollins has a torn MCL and a partially torn meniscus. Right now, the time frame is that he will be ready in time for WrestleMania. It's not an ACL, but there is at least a good window where he could make WrestleMania, but he's obviously not going to be able to wrestle up until that point, which then we question, well, should we take the championship away from him? Should we strip him? Do we keep the championship on him? We'll find all that out tonight. But Meltzer said that WWE, as of Friday afternoon, is still planning to do the match with Rollins and Punk at WrestleMania. However, if Rollins misses more time than expected or needs surgery, those plans obviously will change. He says, on Friday, as of an hour ago, before he recorded his podcast, Seth Rollins and CM Punk are still scheduled for WrestleMania. As far as that could change, sure. I was told, yes, it could change, but it's in the air. But right now, he's still on WrestleMania. I heard yesterday he was pulled from some house shows and whatever. However long this is to be determined. It's a significant injury, but we don't know how significant. And we'll find out on Monday. But yeah, the gist of it is the torn MCL, torn meniscus, and right now, him and Punk is still on the cards for WrestleMania. Meltzer did add that he had arthroscopic knee surgery back when that if he had arthroscopic surgery, I'm not talking about Meltzer, Rollins, he'd be back for Mania. But if he had invasive surgery, he would be out for WrestleMania. So Meltzer is talking about arthroscopic surgery for Rollins. He'll make it. Invasive surgery, goodbye. He's not making WrestleMania. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. I went deep into giving you guys all of the outcomes, possible outcomes, as far as what Rollins could do if he needs to vacate the championship, if the championship is on the line in the Royal Rumble, if the championship is on the line in the Elimination Chamber. I went over all of the possible legitimate outcomes that WWE could do as far as if they look at a WrestleMania card without Seth Rollins. I'm not going to go over it again here because it was a 35-minute video. I'll leave you guys a link right at the top here. Click the bubble. It'll take you right to the video. I explained everything in detail And I really went into it. But we'll find out on Monday. The one thing I can tell you guys right now is I hope that Rollins is going to be okay. I hope that it's not as serious as everybody's making it out to be. I hope we get Rollins and Punk at WrestleMania for the championship. And I hope that WWE and Seth Rollins know themselves better than we all do, and I'm sure they do, that they're not putting this guy at further risk for injury, and they will have him go to WrestleMania knowing that he's going to deliver. I don't want him to get there, and then something catastrophic happens, and then we're asking ourselves, well, why didn't they just take the title from him in the first place? It's going to be a very interesting Monday night. Also, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, or not, Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk, rather, not Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk will be face-to-face tonight in the ring, mic-to-mic, promo-to-promo. That should be an absolutely unbelievable segment. So I'm very much looking forward to that on Monday nights. It's going to be a big night. The go-home show for the Royal Rumble. I'll be live tonight on Monday Night Raw. And finally, Kazuchika Okada. He's still considering his options. WWE, AEW, both interested in his services. He's leaving New Japan. His contract expires later this month. Okada's been on the WWE radar for a while. Tony Khan is already making cryptic tweets that AEW is going to have a major 2024. And he's made cryptic tweets in regards to signing Okada because when the news broke, Tony Khan got a little finger happy on X and couldn't contain his happiness. Okada's worked for AEW for a couple of dates. He's worked for Forbidden Door. He was invited back to Dynamite. So he's worked with AEW before. He knows what to expect with them. He knows that could potentially be his second home. He knows that if he goes there, he'll be able to work New Japan and do whatever he wants and might not have to leave Japan if he didn't want to. Tony Khan would give him anything he wants, where WWE would give him the money, give him the WrestleMania moment and the WrestleMania match that he desires, but I don't know what else they'd give him outside of that. Bigger exposure, I'm sure, but I mean, I don't really know how they're going to be able to combat Tony Khan in this particular instance. Dave Meltzer said that both sides still believe they have a chance to sign him. He's going to do whatever and go wherever makes the best offer. I've heard from people and talked to people who know him very well, who've talked to him in the last day or two, and he's not decided. It's not like a secret. He just hasn't decided. I know people in AEW who think they've got him. I know people in AEW who hope they've got him, but don't think that they've got him. I know people in WWE who hope they're going to get him and believe that. One person mentioned he wants legacy, and it's kind of like, well, maybe we can pay him less, but he can have his WrestleMania moment. And again, what his goal is in life, for some people, that means more. And either way, he's going to make great money. Again, it's going to be up to him. We don't really know. I gave my thoughts on this already. I do think that he lands with AEW. I do think that he wants legacy. I do think that he wants money. But I do think that he wants things right now to remain unchanged as far as his personal life. If he goes to WWE, they'll probably have him move to Florida. They'll probably have him uproot his life. They'll pay him whatever the fuck he wants. And he'll probably be used as a Brock Lesnar part-time act. And I'm sure there's going to be dream matches galore with Okada in WWE. He'll get his WrestleMania moment, and he'll get the big stage and the big exposure. Meanwhile, if he goes to AEW, he's going to get paid probably more than what WWE is going to pay him. It's going to feel like home. He's going to have all of his friends around him. He's going to have one tremendous roster to work with, probably the best roster ever, and he's not going to have to uproot his life, and Tony Khan is going to allow him to do whatever he wants. I mean, it's not a WrestleMania moment, and it's not a bigger exposure than WWE, but sometimes those things don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's family, personal life, and then what happens next. And then what happens after that, Tony Khan, outside of the WrestleMania moment, you know, I think it's more of a safe bet that Okada lands with AEW. And imagine if AEW and Tony Khan land Okada, Mercedes, Kenny Omega comes back, we get MJF back, Adam Cole is back, Will Ospreay is with AEW starting in February. Imagine what Wembley Stadium is going to look like for All In. It may be the greatest professional wrestling show in the history of professional wrestling if AEW has a roster that is 100% healthy. Maybe that is part of what Tony Khan is talking about, that he's excited for an unbelievable year, the best year ever for AEW in 2024. I don't know. But I do think that Okada is going to land with AEW. Obviously, we will find out as more information is available. Nothing right now is there. It's just that Triple H wants him. Tony Khan wants him. Triple H is making cryptic tweets that he's already got him or possibly landed him already. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a very interesting week. Going to be a very interesting month because we don't know what the fuck AEW's got up its sleeve. We don't know where Mercedes is going. Man, it's crazy out here, man. I can't keep up with it all. So crazy out here, but I got you guys covered right here on OTS. And tonight I'll be live from Monday Night Raw with the Off the Script post show. Make sure you guys tune in. The stream is already set up. Go find your seat. Go order a drink at the bar. And I'll see you guys later tonight for the post show right here on Monday night with Off the Script. Make sure you guys go hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes on today's video. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And make sure you guys go and check out all the other content on the channel. There's plenty of it. And follow me on social media at JD from NY206, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Guys, I'll see you tonight live right here on Off the Script for the Monday Night Raw post show tonight in the venue. See you guys later.